folks, and welcome back to Around Our World in 80! This week we did Big Hero 6. History of Big Hero 6, according to Wikipedia. It is a 2014 American 3D computer animated superhero film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios. It is actually loosely based on the superhero team of the same name by Marvel Comics. Did you know that?
I did not.
The film is the 54th Disney animated feature film. Big Hero 6 is the first Disney animated film to feature Marvel Comics characters whose parent company was acquired by the Walt Disney Company in 2009. Walt Disney Animation Studios created new software technology to produce the film's animated visuals. There is a television series which continues the story of the film, debuted on November 20th, 2017. I must find it. I love this movie if you can't tell. After Disney's acquisition of Marvel Entertainment in 2009, CEO Bob Iger encouraged the company's divisions to explore Marvel's properties for adaptation concepts. By deliberately depicting an obscure title, it would give them the freedom to come up with their own version. While directing Winnie the Pooh, director Don Hall was scrolling through a Marvel database when he stumbled upon Big Hero 6, a comic he had never heard of before. "I just like the title," he said. He pitched the concept to John Lasseter in 2011 as one of 5 ideas for possible productions for Walt Disney Animation Studios, and this particular idea struck a chord with Lasseter, Hall, and Chris Williams. With respect to the design of Baymax, Hall mentioned in an interview, "I wanted a robot that we had never seen before and something to be wholly original. That's a tough thing to do. We've got a lot of robots in pop culture, everything from the Terminator to WALL-E to C-3PO and on down the line, and not to mention Japanese robots. I won't go into that. So I wanted to do something original. Even if they did not know what the robot should look like, artist Lisa Keene came up with the idea that it should be a huggable robot." I'm totally okay with this. Early on in the development process, Hall and the design team took a research trip to Carnegie Mellon University's Robot Institute, where they met a team of DARPA-funded researchers who were pioneering the new field of soft robotics using inflatable vinyl, which ultimately inspired Baymax's inflatable vinyl truly huggable design. They say about 90 animators worked on the film at one point or another. Some worked on the project for as long as 2 years. The reason why Disney wanted to merge Tokyo, which is where the comic book version takes place, with San Francisco was partly because San Francisco had not been used by Marvel before, partly because of all the city's iconic aspects, and partly because they felt its aesthetics would blend well with Tokyo. The filmmakers' idea that San Fransokyo is based on alternate history in which San Francisco was largely rebuilt by Japanese immigrants in the aftermath of the 1906 earthquake, although this premise is never stated in the film. A software program called Denzian was used to create over 700 distinctive characters that populate the city. Another one named Bonsai was responsible for the creation of the city's 250,000 trees, while a new rendering system called Hyperion offered new illumination possibilities, like light shining through a translucent object, e.g. Baymax's vinyl covering. Pixar's RenderMan was considered as a plan B for the film's rendering if Hyperion was not able to meet production deadlines. The post-credit scene was only added in the film in August 2014, late in production, after co-director Don Hall and his crew went to go see Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy. He stated that it horrified us that people sat waiting for an ends credit thing because of the Marvel DNA. We didn't want people to leave the movie disappointed. Big Hero 6 premiered on October 23, 2014 as the opening film at the Tokyo International Film Festival. And the world premiere of Big Hero 6 in 3D took place at the Abu Dhabi Film Festival on October 31, 2014. Big Hero 6 earned $222.5 million in North America and $435.3 million in other territories for a worldwide estimated total of $657.8 million. That's a lot of numbers.
Ridiculous.
By grossing over $500 million worldwide, it became the 4th Disney release of 2014 to do so, the other titles being Guardians of the Galaxy, Maleficent, and Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Gosh.
To think that Big Hero 6 had that much success in the box office, and yet it has pretty much negligible park IP. Like, they're building a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but there's, like, no Big Hero 6 ride. Like, you can meet Baymax at Epcot, But I don't know how long that's going to last with all of the stuff that they're planning to do at Epcot. I digress. The review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes reports that 89% of critics gave the film a positive review based on 205 reviews. It also won the Best Animated Feature at the 87th Academy Awards. Because we all know how we feel about award shows. What did Jared think of Big Hero 6?
It's a good movie. I like just the mashup of all the different characters and stuff. Is really fun. I was curious how they came up with San Fransokyo.
It's an alternative reality, apparently.
And him having the little tiny robot that like kicks butt at the beginning was really funny.
This movie is probably the one that I always forget how much like this movie speaks to me from a emotional perspective.
AKA, it's the only one she ever cries for when the robot dies.
I really do. This movie makes me cry.
No other robot gets tears. This one, the fluffy marshmallow robot gets tears.
Yes, he does. Even before, like, just talking about Baymax, you know, yes, he's a lovable robot, but I think this movie talks a lot more about mental health. Like, sure, Baymax is a robot that's supposed to be helping with physical ailments, but there's a point in the movie where he scans him and he says your brain's, you know, dopamine levels or whatever it was, you know, are lower than, you know, they should be. You must be sad or something like that, you know, talking about how he was depressed after his brother died. But I think it goes into a lot more about mental health, and yeah, Baymax gives some really, you know, cliche remedies when it comes to dealing with loss and things like that, but it also allows Hiro to go and try other things like revenge or, you know, finding justice or whatever, and he realizes that those aren't actually good remedies to dealing with loss. So it explores both sides. The other thing that I love about this movie is it really touches on technology and our responsibility with it. You have two things that Hiro and his brother create. His brother creates Baymax, who's supposed to be something that helps humanity. Mm-hmm. And there's a point in the movie where Hiro changes out his chip, and he only has the, you know, destroy chip. And suddenly something that was built for good is now meant for killing another human being. And same thing with the microbots. Hiro, you know, created them because he was talking about, you know, helping build things and helping make the world a better place. And it was stolen by somebody to, again, for revenge, get back. And it was used for evil. And I think that living in this decade/century, we are going to really have to realize robotics and technology are a tool. Everybody talks about how much time we have on screens. Well, Apple just released, you know, their iOS 12, and they have a whole new feature talking about screen time where it can actually help track how much time you spend on your devices, and if you would like, spend less time. And so I think that we have to sit down and we have to say, this is how we want to use technology. And like I talked about last week with Remember the Titans, where we have to really think about our character. I think that having the two back-to-back, while unlikely movies to put back-to-back, I think it's really just kind of honed in for me, like the value of having good character. And
you mean you can't draw easy analogies from the super jock movie and the super nerd kid that gets beat up by the jock movie?
It's not conventional, let's just say that.
Those two go together all the time. What are you talking about? One comes out with a bloody nose every once in a while, but...
Point is, I think it just hones in for me the value of our character and how we treat other people, whether it be with our words or our actions or our robots. I know that was really cheesy, but you get my point. So this week's activity for Big Hero 6 kind of came out around several different versions. At first we were just going to make Big Hero 6 like figurines out of marshmallows. as a snack. That was our first idea.
Big Marshmallow 6.
Yeah. Our second idea was we were going to go get the Lego Mindstorms packs because we saw them at the Perot Museum, and since the movie talked about robotics, we were like, oh, that'd be really cool to get to play around with the Lego robotics. Those are expensive. So I literally, we sat down and we're like, okay, we have these different categories, whether it be a date, a family activity, or service. And we're like, we really haven't done a lot of service outside of our church recently. So I literally went on Google and I typed in like medical...
Hey, hold on a second.
What?
I believe we were sitting there and there was someone who suggested, what if we did something to help people in the medical field because he's a medical assistant? Thank you.
Jared's idea. So, as he's saying that, I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, okay, so I pull up my iPad and I Google it. That's how that transaction went down. And this is just a God thing in my opinion. What pops up but something for Cook's Children's Hospital in Fort Worth. And lo and behold, they have a volunteer program specifically for people that can sew. And as I've been making a lot of these children's outfits, I end up having a lot of fabric scraps. And I literally just like redid our bookcase, just organizing all the fabric that I have now. And so I've been really wanting to find something to do with a lot of my fabric scraps. And I think this is going to be the thing that's going to happen. They have a whole list on their website of things that you can do. Anything from pillowcases to bags to like these special kind of bibs for toddlers that have to wear heart monitors, to gel pack covers, to little like surgical masks for stuffed animals. And the one that really stuck out to me was they actually are requesting these dolls, like they're just plain white dolls. And that kind of obviously reminded me of Baymax. I'm not making a Baymax. But they are requesting these dolls because they use them for kids so that they can draw on them. So doctors can use them to draw like, okay, this is the surgery that we're going to be doing. And then the kid can take their doll and draw like how they're feeling about the surgery pre and post surgery. Mm-hmm. They can draw on them just to have like a companion for while they're at the hospital, and they have a pattern that you can make to give the doll a hospital gown just like the kid has. And so we went through the process and we made some dolls for some kids. So I just cut the strings off of the ends of the stitching that I did, and we're gonna turn them inside out.
So why is this movie one of your favorites?
So if people, I don't think I've ever talked about this on our blog before. I've talked about it on previous blogs from like my old blog spot that I used to run. But if you don't know, when I was 15, we had two felons come into our house and rob us at gunpoint. I don't really like to talk about it because I don't like feeling like I keep bringing up the past. I like to feel like I'm moving on from it. But I know that it's important to talk about because I definitely struggled with PTSD. Not immediately after it, but in my early 20s and college years. And so mental health is something that I value a lot. And I feel like this is one of those few Disney movies that actually talks about mental health and how debilitating it can be. I mean, you know, his aunt is always coming in and trying to get him to eat and to get him to go outside and go to class, and he just completely, you know, recoils from any outside contact. And so there's so much that he goes through when he experiences loss, and he's trying to, you know, feel better and get back to a happier place. And I just really relate to that aspect of it. And I don't know. I feel like mental health is something that people don't like to talk about because it kind of feels, you know, hokey. Like, you're fine, slap, slap, get over it kind of feeling. Or they don't understand it. And so I think it just provides a really great platform to talk about it and talk about how important it is, even if you haven't had something traumatic in your life that you're trying to overcome, just how to deal with stress in a healthy way, and how to have healthy relationships, and just make sure that you're not letting a lot of negative thoughts into your life and make things extra difficult. I don't know. It really resonates with me. And honestly, I think that if I were an Imagineer and I was looking at the Epcot stuff that was happening here in the next few years, all the reconstruction they're doing, I would love to see like an Inside Out / Big Hero 6 place that talks about mental health, the importance of mental health, and how it affects your everyday life. So Disney Imagineers, if you're listening, that would be what I'd say. Not that any of them are going to see this. How's the stuffing going?
It's very slow.
You're doing a great job, though.
The last time I had to stuff fiber back into wood, I got splinters.
4 dolls for 4 kids. So just got to make the gowns now. Alright, so it's the next day, and I'm taking some of the scrap fabric from my designs, my other outfits, and I'm going to cut out, where's my pattern? The gown for all my dolls. Alright, so now our situation is Reagan has decided she's going to just run around the room here and get into all the things. I have hemmed the gowns, and I'm trying to pick out what fabric ribbon to use for them. But I don't have a lot of like really tiny ribbon, so this will be interesting. Are you helping Daddy today?
So what are we doing?
We're putting our gowns on the dolls. Got 2 little boy dolls and 2 little girl dolls. I'm guessing that boy dolls are kind of harder to come by. Everybody has, little girl fabrics. So hopefully some little boy will really enjoy his Hawaiian luau gown.
That's technically the back, right?
Actually, it's the front. That's at least what it says on the pattern.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't hospital gowns open in the back, though?
Usually, yeah. I don't know if it's different for the pediatric ward or not, but obviously it's a blank doll, so they can make whichever way front and back they want. Alright. There they are. Alright, so we cleaned and sterilized them, and now we will deliver them tomorrow.
Okay, Maddie, where are we going?
We are headed to Cook's Children's. We're having to deal with some construction and some traffic and some rain.
weather.
Always a really good combination to drive in, but it says we'll be there in 6 minutes.
Adventure trying to find somewhere to park. We are headed in with our box of goodies. Yes, it is. Got all kinds of big playgrounds and fun statues. Main entrance. Right, we made it in. Our next greatest adventure, finding the exit. Ta-da! Conclusion, go.
That was awesome. We actually got to talk to the lady who's in charge of the volunteer services for the Stitch a Wish volunteering. She said that they need a couple of things. They love those medical dolls, but they actually need ones that are in different ethnic colors, so not just white.
Different skin tones.
Yeah, so browns and blacks and tans and all sorts of stuff like that. So that was one thing she said they needed. And then the other thing that she said that they really need is they provide a small pillow for every single new admission to the hospital, and she says that they can be anywhere from like 1 to 200 a week of those. And so I think what would be really cool, if you readers/viewers are interested, we personally would not be able to pay for enough fabric for the dolls and the pillowcases. We're not in a financial place to do that. But if you guys are interested in helping out with that, leave a comment, and then you guys can find me on Venmo. I'll put my thing, it's just Madelyn Egli, it's not anything really crazy. We'll use whatever money you guys send. That's not going to be an issue. But if we get enough people, hopefully we can actually completely cover their 200 a week quota for the pillowcases, and then also help out with some of the more ethnic colored medical dolls. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be cool. We're gonna need people to help with sewing though, so you're gonna have to either send money or send sewing to, because I don't sew. I'm not sewing 200 pillowcases a week.
I'm not saying that we would be able to do it in a week, but we could definitely make a dent if people want to either make their own pillowcases and send it to us, or send money for us to buy fabric, or just send fabric. We'll have to figure out where to have people send it. So yeah, comment below if you're interested in helping out. And let's see where this goes. This would be interesting. It was really, really cool. I enjoyed it.
More info in the description below. Just go ahead and read through there, because
yeah, definitely.
That'll be the most informative for you. It should also be noted that any money donated toward this cause will go 100% to that cause.
Heck yeah.
We will not be taking anything out of it for any reason whatsoever.
Nope.
It would be strictly for fabric and
stuffing.
Yeah, and stuffing and stuff. There would not be any deductions for like our time that we spent on it or anything. We would get zero of it, we'd keep zero of it. It would go 100% to providing these things that they need at the Children's Hospital.
Yep. Alright, well thank you guys for watching. This is kind of a fun vlog because I think it'll actually develop into something bigger, maybe? I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And as always, we'll see you real soon.